Before I tell this story, think twice about becoming a long-haul truck driver. This video is not meant to scare you, but to show the real difficulties truckers face every day. What you're about to hear is a short look into a profession that keeps the country moving, but often at a very high personal cost. Truck driving is a job where danger is always close. While drivers carry full responsibility for cargo that can be worth millions of dollars. This is everyday reality for long-haul truckers. Sometimes the heart freezes at the thought that a massive vehicle might not be controllable on an icy road. Especially when you know that back home, a family is waiting. A family you may not have seen for months. Safety studies from developed countries have shown that truck drivers face one of the highest risks of death on the job. Even in places with modern highways and strict safety standards, long-haul trucking remains an extremely dangerous occupation. A noticeable share of fatal workplace accidents involves heavy truck drivers, proving just how risky this profession really is. Rain, mud, snow, extreme heat, constant pressure to deliver on time, overcrowded truck stops, all of this comes with the job. Sleepless nights, endless empty highways, frustration at loading docks, and non-stop stress are part of everyday life behind the wheel. Despite this, truck drivers are often described as resilient, strong, and deeply dedicated people who keep supply chains alive. Most of a driver's life is spent inside the cab. Eating healthy meals or maintaining a regular fitness routine becomes almost impossible. Over time, digestive problems appear, weight increases, and combined with bad habits, the risk of heart disease rises sharply. That's why the danger of this job is not limited to traffic accidents alone. Health problems become another silent threat. One experienced truck driver shared his story about falling asleep behind the wheel. He admitted that it happened several times throughout his career. The first time was early on, when the truck drifted onto the shoulder and the vibration woke him up. Another time, he lost focus for just a fraction of a second. The most frightening moment came late at night on an empty highway, when he suddenly realized he was going downhill at high speed after briefly blacking out. Luckily, no one was hurt. He said he would gladly change careers, but after nearly a decade in trucking, starting over feels impossible. His family depends on his income, and learning a new profession would take time he doesn't have. Long absences from home caused repeated arguments, and although he once tried switching jobs, financial pressure forced him back into trucking. Over time, his family learned to accept his profession, even though his children wish he could be home more often. He explained that truckers visit many places, but rarely experience them. Most of what they see are highways, industrial zones, and endless fences. Occasionally, when a load is delayed, there's a rare chance to walk around a city, but those moments are extremely rare. Another veteran driver described the job as a constant balance between danger and responsibility. He said accidents are always close, especially in winter and in remote regions where roads can turn deadly overnight. According to him, the worst situations happen when young drivers go without sleep for an entire day or more and then get behind the wheel. Fatigue pushes them to drive faster, take risks, and eventually lose control. He explained that many employers today demand everything to be done faster and cheaper. Deadlines are tight, rest is limited, and safety often comes second. When companies push drivers to rush, he refuses immediately. He says no delivery is worth a life. Speed never leads to anything good, and experience taught him that lesson the hard way. When he was younger, he admitted driving for 2 days straight without proper rest. He remembered moments when his eyes were open, but his mind was already shutting down. Among truckers, there's even a phrase for this state: when you keep driving, but reality starts to blur. Shapes appear on the road, shadows look like people, and familiar routes suddenly feel unfamiliar. Over time, he learned to listen to his body. The moment fatigue appears, it's time to stop. In many parts of the country, there are guarded truck stops where drivers can rest safely. But pulling over on the shoulder can be risky. Fuel theft, stolen equipment, and damaged trucks are common problems. Drivers are fully responsible for the cargo, and any loss often comes straight out of their own pockets. He shared a story about a colleague who was involved in an accident during winter. The load scattered across the highway, and the company billed the driver for the damages. In another case, poor maintenance nearly cost him his life. The brakes failed on a downhill stretch, the truck lost control, and the vehicle rolled over. Fuel spilled across the road, and the financial consequences followed soon after. There was also a moment he still remembers clearly. A passenger car suddenly crossed into his lane. He braked and moved aside just enough to avoid a collision. Moments later, the car disappeared from view. He turned back and found it crashed off the road. The driver was alive and admitted he had fallen asleep. After helping pull the car out, the trucker continued his route. Head-on collisions are among the most dangerous scenarios on the road. In one incident, another driver fell asleep just a few miles from home. The truck driver managed to steer the tractor away at the last second, and the impact hit the trailer instead. Thanks to that split-second decision, there were no fatal injuries, though recovery still took weeks. Criminal threats add another layer of risk. Some drivers have reported organized theft while trucks are still moving. Thieves quietly access trailers, cut seals, and steal cargo without the driver noticing until much later. When the route ends, instead of payment, drivers may face massive financial losses. In extreme cases, people are forced to sell their trucks or even their homes to cover the damage. There are also more aggressive schemes. Drivers are tricked into stopping under false pretenses, only to be attacked and robbed. These operations often target valuable goods and operate across multiple regions. Because of this, drivers must stay alert at all times, carefully check documents, and, whenever possible, work only with companies that ensure cargo and value safety. A representative from a large logistics company explained that experienced long-haul drivers are becoming harder to find. Young applicants often arrive with licenses that allow them to drive heavy trucks, but once they sit behind the wheel, it becomes clear that real skill and discipline are missing. These drivers are assigned to mentors and sent on long training periods that can last from several weeks to several months. Many of them quit once they realize what the job truly demands. A truck driver is responsible not only for the cargo, but also for road safety, paperwork, and strict transport rules. When hauling temperature-controlled goods, even small mistakes can cause major losses. If routes cross state lines or international borders, expectations grow even higher. Drivers must handle documentation correctly and communicate with people from different backgrounds along the way. According to industry experts, driving a heavy truck can be more dangerous than many professions people consider extreme. The number of accidents, close calls, and life-threatening situations on highways far exceeds what most people ever experience. Despite this, truck drivers often receive modest pay and very limited benefits compared to the level of responsibility they carry. In many developed countries, long-haul drivers are treated as essential workers and compensated accordingly. Yet, in reality, many of them feel invisible. They risk their lives daily, but their work is rarely recognized until something goes wrong. Even so, drivers with many years behind the wheel admit that they cannot imagine their lives without the road. Almost everyone thinks about quitting at some point, especially during moments of exhaustion. But once emotions settle, they realize that the highway has become part of who they are. From the outside, driving a truck may seem simple or even adventurous, but in reality, very few people can handle this pace of life and level of responsibility. I want to wish patience and good health to everyone who keeps moving despite the weather, the danger, and the constant pressure. Thanks to these people, store shelves stay full, fuel reaches homes, and everyday life continues without interruption. If you have a story from the road, share it in the comments. Stay safe out there, and good luck on the highway.